Hello guys, my name is Anna and I vlog daily from Ukraine since the start of brutal Russian invasion to keep you updated about what is real life in Ukraine during these challenging times. If you support Ukraine and you want to know more about us, please subscribe and share the videos that you consider important. And those of you who follow me daily recognize that the background behind me has changed, and that is because we have come to one very beautiful place, one of my favorite cities in Ukraine, try to guess, to film Discover Ukraine series. And actually the weather is very bad today. It's super rainy and reminds me London. So after I record this video, I will have to go and drink something hot. Thank you for buying me coffees, or maybe even thank you for buying me hot wine. But today's video I love recording because we are going to speak about more explosions in Crimea. And I would like to remind you why it is so important for the success of Ukrainian counter-offensive and the end of this war with Ukrainian victory. Because since 2014, Russia has turned Crimea in its military base. Instead of a beautiful resort, or as Zelensky now speaks that after liberation he will do his best to turn Crimea into Ukrainian Silicon Valley, and we have all the potential for that because IT is a very strong sphere in Ukraine. So both variants are good for me, but of course not a military base. Why? Because it's evil, because it's a Russian military base, but also because it's not the best place for it. Ukraine is a country of moderate climate, but Crimea is a subtropical zone. And many of us and many of neighboring countries, apart from Russians, they are never invited to Crimea, would love spending time there. And I hope that one day we will vlog and travel to Crimea together. So what happened recently? Actually, a couple of days before, one of their military supplies was on fire and the detonation lasted for almost a day. But this night even more good and beautiful things happen, and that is a Petro Depot was destroyed, and you know how loudly they explode, and they typically remain on fire for a long period of time, so that many crazy Russian tourists, by the way, who watch the video about that, many crazy Russian tourists will feel that something is happening and Ukraine is coming back to Crimea, which is a super important message. Also, their military airfield was destroyed, damaged, and lots of military supplies. So, one of the main tasks of Ukrainian counteroffensive is actually to neutralize Crimea as a military base of Russian orcs. Because from Crimea, they supply Russian orc forces with people, weapons, food, and whatever they need. That's why the destruction of Kerch Bridge, that's why the destruction of various ways that connect Crimea to the other part of Ukraine are so important. And even those Russians who have dug themselves and built many protection lines and mined the territory on temporarily occupied Ukrainian territories will be forced to leave because they will not get any supply, and they will either die of hunger or they will have to leave the territory. So that's the great task. Also, we are destroying their weapons, we are destroying their vehicles, and they are always used to do for what? To kill Ukrainians. So this way we are saving people. As far as I understand, drones were used to do the things. And of course, you will never read on a headline somewhere on the official webpage that yes, we did it. But when I told Sasha this is the video that I have to record today, he told me, oh, Zaluzhny is such a good man, but he keeps us all busy all the time, because there are many news that I want to share, and I am proud of Ukrainian army and general. And with this little supply, especially that we are not allowed to use many of the weapons that allies give us on Russian territory. Ukrainians are very inventive in what they do. So let me sum up why these explosions, burnings, destructions of military stuff on Crimea are important. First, because it's vitally important to return Crimea to Ukraine. And second, because this is very symbolic. For Russia, Crimea was one of the first victories of the Kremlin goblin, Putin. If you agree that Putin is Kremlin goblin and you are not yet subscribed, please subscribe, because up to 50% of my viewers are not subscribed. And by your subscription, you make my channel more visible. And I really believe that more people have to know about the things happening in Ukraine, because this is our modern history. So Crimea is very important personally for Putin, same as Kerch Bridge. This was his first territory annexed from Ukraine, and starting from it, he developed the myth of the collector of the Ruski lands. So when his collection falls apart, that will be a good signal both for Russian population and for many other peoples. And it's not a mistake of English grammar. I mean, nations that are a part of Russia will maybe decide to get out of that dark federation of evil. Secondly or thirdly, even we destroy weapons that are used to destroy our houses and our lives. So thus we cut the provision that they have to the Russian forces that are temporarily located on Ukrainian ground until they get into Ukrainian ground. And it's a message for Russian tourists who are like crazy visiting Crimea, and for those people who are buying estate there, because Russians were very much encouraged to move to Crimea from the other parts of Ukraine to Russify it quickly within this like 8-9 years of occupation starting from annexation. So honestly, Crimea, its annexation and very weak reaction of the global community was a huge mistake that I believe inspired Putin to continue this war. So taking back Crimea, liberating Crimea, cutting Russian supply is the step to change this mistake into a lesson and to return Crimea back to the democratic world and use its natural resources not for the sake of killing others, but for the sake of resting, eating, and why not Silicon Valley. I like that idea. So thank you so much for buying me coffees, for becoming my patrons. Maybe I will buy myself some hot wine. It's surprisingly dark and rainy outside, but the news are really good. And let's keep an eye on what is happening in Crimea. So let me know, where do you think we are traveling, and what city do you think we are going to film for our Discover Ukraine episode? And actually, what would you like to see? And introduce yourself to our beautiful merch, because there is a new collection about Ukrainian heritage. And even if you will not buy t-shirts, at least read the stories behind them, because they tell a lot about Ukrainian, naive and professional art. Slava Ukraini!